The number of sights on our world that amaze us every day is immeasurable. Nature's beauty is absolutely magnificent, and everyone should strive to see as much of what the planet has to offer as possible. Some of the locations are even man-made, demonstrating that we may also design something that can inspire others to wonder. Many sights inspire awe, while some make us doubt if what we're experiencing is real. Sometimes we are confronted with a location so unbelievable that our reactions are difficult to convey. Welcome to ZM Facts new episode. Today, we are going to talk about most unbelievable places around the world. Please stay with us. Number 1. Al Nasla Rock. One of the world's greatest mysteries is the Al Nasla Rock Formation in Saudi Arabia. Two stones, 6 meters, 20 feet high, stand atop their own pedestals on the surface of the Al Nasla Rock, divided by a flawlessly smooth crack. Al Nasla's major fissure is famous for its petroglyphs, which date back up to 4,000 years. Although the cause is unknown, other terrestrial aspects point to possible solutions. Balanced rock has similar unstable equilibrium characteristics in the United States. Various layers of sedimentary rock erode at different rates, resulting in pedestal-like structures. These ancient structures are at risk of collapsing as the supporting material erodes. Egypt's has similar volatile characteristics. Wind, rain, sand, and moving water all work together to create these formations across geological timescales. Meanwhile, Split Apple Rock from New Zealand has an almost perfect split. Water-based weathering can rip boulders apart by exposing weak points in granite structures known as joints. Another fractured joint parallel to the main fissure can be found on the backside of Al Nasla, which could be a hint. Eroding sandstone and limestone lead to spectacular features all throughout the Arabian Peninsula. Earthquakes and/or fault lines could potentially have played a role in the formation of Al Nasla's fissure. Although its demise is unavoidable, Al Nasla remains a geological marvel. Number 2. Death Valley. Death Valley is a depressed desert valley in eastern California that is one of the hottest spots on the planet. It holds the world record for the hottest air temperature ever recorded at a blistering 134 degrees Fahrenheit back in 1913, with average temperatures of 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And Death Valley lives up to its moniker, with 41 deaths confirmed between 2010 and 2020. Hiking through the desert requires staying hydrated and avoiding heat stroke. But despite the obvious dangers, the last thing you'd anticipate is to look back and discover yourself being pursued by rocks. Is the high temperature generating hallucinations? No, the rocks are not moving on their own. Could it be the work of Death Valley's departed spirits? Fortunately, nothing as morbid as that. It all comes down to simple old-fashioned rock science. These rocks, known as the sailing stones, have left paths up to 1,500 feet long or the length of 4 football fields. Some of the stones appear to be racing one another due to their identical tracks. However, the source of this peculiar geological occurrence has evaded geologists for years. They were ultimately able to capture the stones in action using time-lapse photography in 2014. They noticed that as the desert temperatures dropped, rainfall formed a small pond that froze overnight. The ice sheet thawed and broke away in the early morning, providing a slick channel along which the floating stone slid, propelled by a gentle breeze. Number 3. Salt Bath City. If you ever visit the Denizli province in southwestern Turkey, the locals will almost certainly recommend that you visit Pamukkale, which translates as Cotton Castle. But this isn't a cotton swab castle or cotton candy castle. It's a magnificent sequence of white plateaued steps that appear to be carved out of glass. Can you guess what material they're composed of? If you said ice, think again, because these steps are a natural element of a hot spring. This area has 17 hot springs ranging in temperature from 95 degrees Fahrenheit, the temperature of a lovely hot bath, to a scorching 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Nonetheless, the existence of hot springs is responsible for Pamukkale's world-famous white terraces. The water in the hot springs is heated below by lava beneath the Earth's crust. The water subsequently rises through the bedrock and becomes calcium carbonate supersaturated. When water breaks the surface, carbon dioxide gas escapes, leaving a soft gel of calcium carbonate behind. This calcium carbonate subsequently solidifies and crystallizes into the gleaming snow-white travertine steps for which Pamukkale is famed. This appears to be very evident by modern geology standards. However, for a long time, it was assumed that the pools were created of solidified cotton, the area's main export, that the giants left to dry. Number 4. Game of Boulders. New Zealand is well known for being the filming setting for The Lord of the Rings, but down on Cocohead Beach, you'll find something straight out of Game of Thrones. There's a cluster of large spherical stones lying in the sand that resemble dragon eggs, but as far as we know, no enormous flying lizards have hatched from one, despite the fact that there are over 50 of them spread across the beach, ranging in size from 1.5 to 7 feet. And their numbers are just increasing as more egg-shaped stones emerge from the beach's black mudstone escarpment as the ocean erodes it away. Photographs from the 19th century demonstrate that there were formerly much more boulders. People hunting for mementos have dug them up and stolen them throughout the years. The boulders are now legally protected, making further theft impossible. But how did they get there? Are they developing within the cliff? Actually, the reverse is true. They formed in the ocean approximately 60 million years ago and took 4 million years to grow to their current massive size. The boulders were produced as layers of sediment, including shell pieces and plant material accumulated on the seafloor. Calcite mineral then accumulated around this clump of organic matter, snowballing into a spherical stone boulder over millions of years. Some of the rock's outer layers are split, revealing bright yellow veins of calcite crystal, although it's unclear what caused the fissures in the first place. Some geologists believe the rocks were stressed by an earthquake, while others believe it was caused by contraction of the exterior rock strata due to excessive drying. Number 5. Devil's Tower. In October 1941, experienced paratrooper George Hopkins sought to demonstrate his abilities to the world by landing on an extremely small target. He chose Devil's Tower, a granite structure 1,267 feet above the Belfort River in Wyoming. That's taller than the Empire State Building's roof. Despite the tower's massive size, 1,347 acres, the actual summit narrows to a flat top of only 1.5 acres, around the size of a football field. But George was up for the challenge, so he jumped out of a plane and tested his talents, and he landed successfully. However, the 1,000-foot climbing rope thrown out of the plane to ease his down slipped over the side of the tower, trapping George on top. Because it is so tall, George was stranded on Devil's Tower for 7 days before being rescued, giving him plenty of time to consider how this unusual monument came to be. The Devil's Tower is the product of volcanic intrusion, in which lava rose up through sedimentary rock strata but did not reach the surface. It cooled underground, generating these unusual hexagonal igneous granite columns. This columnar jointing is caused by the rock cracking when it compresses from molten lava into solid rock. The upper sedimentary rock has been eroded away by weathering over thousands of years, revealing Devil's Tower. Prior to contemporary geological studies, indigenous tribes believed the tower's columns were formed by the claws of a King Kong-sized bear that carved straight through the rock. Number 6. Cave of Crystals, Crystal Cave, located beneath the Sierra de Neca mountain in Chihuahua, Mexico. This cave chamber is 984 feet deep and is the stuff of geologists' fantasies. It's covered in Hulk-sized interconnecting crystals that range in length from 20 to 36 feet. They can grow to be the same length as a telephone pole. These crystals are among the largest ever discovered, having a diameter of more than 3 feet. These crystals began to form around 26 million years ago and required 500,000 to 900,000 years to grow to their current size. This process started when groundwater entered the cave through an opening in a magma chamber, soaked with the mineral anhydrite. The magma beneath the crystal cave maintained the temperature boiling hot, but when it dropped below 136 degrees Fahrenheit, the anhydrite began to break down into calcium and sulfate. These minerals subsequently began to recrystallize as selenite, a type of gypsum. With the temperature regulated and a constant supply of mineral-rich water, The crystals continued to develop into the massive white crystalline spheres that we see today. Though this atmosphere is ideal for selenite crystals, it is lethal to people. Researchers may only stay in there for 10 minutes without full safety. For starters, the cave's searing temperature of 136 degrees Fahrenheit puts researchers at risk of overheating all the time. Furthermore, the humidity in the cave ranges from 90 to 99%. Given that our bodies operate at a colder 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, the water in the humid air condenses inside our lungs. As a result, you could practically drown on dry land in this situation. Number 7. Magical Rock. Mawlynnong is a small settlement in northeast India's East Khasi Hills. It's a pretty little community that has even been named Asia's cleanest. But Mawlynnong is more than just a haven of remarkable cleanliness. A geological wonder awaits on the outskirts of the village, a boulder suspended in mid-air. This massive rock defies gravity's pull. How is this even possible? This odd occurrence was produced because to Photoshop's unraveled strength. Yes, these viral photographs of the rock are a blatant fabrication. In actuality, this massive boulder is balanced on top of a smaller boulder that has been airbrushed out of the picture. To say the least, that's disheartening. Nonetheless, there is a weird secret hidden underneath this rock. The big boulder has remained balanced here for thousands of years, surrounded by a wire fence. Countless cyclones and typhoons have passed through the area, yet none have been able to topple it. Nobody knows why this granite memorial was constructed in the first place. Local historians believe it was an ancient Khasi tribal shrine before Christianity was adopted. The elders of the town, however, claim that the rock was the site of human sacrifices made 1,000 years ago to please the gods. The origin of the balanced Mawlynnong rock monument is still unknown. All we know today is that Photoshop is the best at doing the world's wonders. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. Thanks for watching.